told through the stories of today's leaders in finance, tech, real estate, culture, and sustainability. This is Planet Gold, with your host, Enzo Di Taranto.
Welcome to this new edition of Planet Gold, my eco-podcast to re-engineer the global climate agenda at the Horizon 2030. Today, we speak with Zulfiquar Ghadyiali, who is the managing director of the private office of Sheikh Tahnoon bin Saeed of the United Arab Emirates. Zulfiquar is a visionary impact investor with a positive outlook on the planetary evolution with humanity that is expanding its consciousness towards protecting and regenerating the planet. We spoke about engaging the 2 billion young people worldwide through a smart use of technologies, particularly AI and the blockchain. Zulfiquar has multiple business interests from India to the Gulf countries, including in the energy and real estate sectors. In fact, we discuss on how sustainability is positively impacting multiple economic sectors of the world economy, from real estate to agriculture and fashion. Zulfiquar is a very passionate a leader in the impact investing space globally. His heart is full of joy and a positive attitude towards people and Mother Earth. And I really enjoyed speaking with him about how to re-engineer the global climate agenda so that not only entrepreneurs and investors have a more approachable policy towards this new multi-million economy that is creating enormous opportunities in the green and blue sectors globally. Anyway, enjoy this conversation with Zulfiquar Ghadyiali live from beautiful Abu Dhabi. Enjoy and always love the planet. Welcome to this new episode of Planet Gold, the Eco Podcast to re-engineer the global climate agenda. This is a very special episode today. We have Mr. Zulfiquar Ghadyiali, who is the managing director of the private office of His Excellency Sheikh Tahnoon bin Saeed bin Tahnoon Al Nahyan, and I hope I pronounce the name correctly. But Zulfiquar, apart from his professional background, he's also a UN Global Peace Ambassador, a collaborator of the University for Peace, a beautiful human being that genuinely cares about the state of the planet and of humanity. So that philanthropic aspect also caught really my attention. With Zulfiquar, we met in Dubai at beautiful Hilton Habtoor Palace, where we had a mastermind on impact investing and on the opportunities that the new green and blue economies, which are now multi-trillion economies, offer to entrepreneurs, to investors, and to the general consumers worldwide. So we had a very, very interesting conversation, and I'm sure that some of those topics will also pop up during today's podcast. So Zulfiquar, thank you again for your availability, your time. Are you in Abu Dhabi right now?
Yes, I'm actually at one of the areas where I had this previous meeting, but yes, I hope the background noise is not very much and that we're able to talk, but it's a great atmosphere. I like natural air and I like wooden elements and I like garden and plants around me. So that's why this is the surrounding for me. It's a specific message through which I'm trying to pass here, that natural habitat is the best habitat. So yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely.
But indeed,
absolutely.
thank you. Yeah, but indeed, thank you for having me on this show with you. And yes, we are all, I would not call ourselves as champion of climate action or sustainability and all. I call myself a lover of the planet Earth. And we all must be in love with this planet to take care of this planet. And that's why you and I clicked in the first moment that we met with each other.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate and value you pointing out that the settings in which we operate are critical also to convey the messages that, so it's like walking the talk. And so very, very much appreciated this first contribution of yours to convey the message of being and living and experience nature as much as we can in our daily lives. So I think that's a very powerful message that we start with the right foot, our today's conversation. I appreciate that.
True.
So Zulfiquar, would you like to, with this Planet Gold podcast, we have two main objectives. The first one is to convey the message that sustainability is the new gold, in the sense that, as we discussed earlier, this new multi-trillion dollars economy opens up a lot of opportunities for investors and entrepreneurs to not only doing good, but also making money, which is, the drive of the economy and of human beings. So that's why the term Planet Gold. But also we want to do this differently from traditional podcasts and really focus more on life stories and life telling or storytelling. So on this vein, would you like to share your own life story and how you became so knowledgeable and passionate about impact investing?
Yeah, sure. To be very honest, I believe that, bringing people together for just simply saying save Earth is not going to make a difference. We must show actionable ideas, actionable plans as to how we intend to actually make a difference. And I believe that capitalism is the best way. Doing business is the best way. I'm against profiteering, but I don't mind profit making, because that's the biggest motivation for everyone and anyone to come to work. The reason why I don't like to do charity is because charity enslaves people, while creating employment creates empowerment. So why not just do a business which not only adds a number to your bottom line, but also helps you to achieve the sustainability goal. And I often tell entrepreneurs that this is not something that you discount, and this is something which helps your own ecosystem. Maybe the business that you are into, your raw material supply totally depends on the forest, for example. And if you do not nurture the forest, then you yourself will not have the raw materials that you so desire for your production or as a raw material. So it's very important that we support creating impact. And how can you create an impact? Well, grow more trees. Well, I'm not saying you conserve forest. You cut the trees if you need be, but you replant enough number of trees so that it covers up the damage to the ecosystem and thereby keeping the eco balance in a proper check. So with that, all these things in my mind, because when you're doing business, you're always worried about bottom lines. And of course, bottom lines are important because you're responsible for your stakeholders. But I wanted to club my passion for sustainable development with my business. And hence, I thought, looking at a business or creating new ideas focused on creating impact is sort of more important than just adding numbers to your profits, And that's when we started to focus on creating more and more projects for social good, projects which makes money and yet empowers people by giving them employment, by bringing people together for common good. When you bring people together, you kind of, make them forget their differences, the racial differences, the religious differences, the global north-south divide. All of that can be forgotten if you bring people together for what is common for all of us, and that is clean air, fresh water. We all need education. We all need employment. We all need our women to be empowered. We all want our farmers to have more ethical chemicals and more ethically produced processes for growing what we eat, and all other processes. So that's when we started to focus on these businesses. We started to focus on collaborative consumption and sharing economy, as we popularly call it, in order to inculcate the idea of reuse, reduce, and recycle. So yes, this is what led me to this whole vision of coming into the impact investing.
Absolutely, and that's very commendable. And I feel that more and more investors in the finance and banking sectors are becoming more conscious and more oriented towards the mindset that you just mentioned. And I remember many years ago, I worked with the Peace Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. You may have crossed him as well, dear Zulfiqar. And so you remember that he created this Grameen Bank, which was a bank. Well, actually, he won the Peace Nobel because he created this concept of microcredits. He was a professor of economy at MIT, so he was, a genius mind. But coming back to your valid point, is that profits is not devil. Actually, we need to foster profit making, but that profit has to have a social value, a purpose. And so with the creation of this net zero banking alliance that we discussed also during our mastermind conversation in Dubai, there are more and more executives, even owners of big banks that are moving towards financing sustainability rather than just making money. And that's a very, very interesting dynamics to follow. So Zulfiqar, always with having this mindset of storytelling, and thank you for sharing your story. So one interesting aspect is for us to understand if what we do every day, the resources that we allocate, the energy that we focus and we radiate really helps people. It's not just for us, but it's that we have an impact in the living conditions of people. So you live in a country, United Arab Emirates, that have both, greatest riches and also average and normal people, right? Hardworking, citizens. And so how you feel your work and your leadership impact the life of the consumers or average people, normal people like even us?
Sure. So just to add here, I live between UAE and India. India is my country of birth, and UAE is a country of my work with the Royal Office in Abu Dhabi of Sheikh Tahnoon. So apart from many other things and many other businesses that I'm engaged into. But the bottom line of every initiative that I've ever taken has always been how to elevate people's lives, So all the businesses that I ever invested in, either my money or on behalf of my investors or on behalf of my royal family, I always taken care of the fact that something which, addresses the needs and aspiration, both of the lowest of the low in the pyramid of the human chain. I'm never worried about, creating product which can actually support the lowest of the lowest in the strata of society. Because what happens is when you address the needs of the people is when you actually target what is good for the public at large, and at the same time which will help keep the environment healthy. For example, I usually like to guide myself through examples. So let's say we recently invested in a tea plantation in India, and the underlying idea was not just selling tea. There are many people who are selling tea, but the underlying idea was to create a peace-led project. Now that area in India is been very poor always, and very much led by the agricultural mafia that exists in some parts. So we decided to take up this project, and we realized that it was a very remote area where the men usually go to better places to find jobs. So they leave the villages and they go into major cities. But there are women who stay back in the society into that particular village. So we decided to create a women-led project where we financed and invested in that project. And now we have created jobs for these women who otherwise will have no means for livelihood. And directly we're giving them access to the marketplace through, of course, like I always say, AI and technology plays a great role in supporting sustainability-led projects. Now, the green teas and variety of teas that these ladies produce for us, we directly ship them to the target factories for further processing, and it straight away goes to the hypermarkets. We have our own chain of hypermarkets, and we're tying up with many other partners in UAE like Lulu, in India also with some partners. The idea is to create a quality product, give the people and the consumer the product that they deserve, no compromise on the quality, and yet we are elevating the lives of the hundreds and thousands of women in a particular location in India. So this is an example of creating a product which helps and elevates people's life and also creates employment, also empowers people. So when you have an impact that you create with your product and with your ideas like this, I think that's where the real change can be achieved, in society at large.
Absolutely. No, and that's very compelling and very honorable to think and to execute like that. And that's why I say more and more people are resonating to that frequency of helping people by making money, which I think it's the best possible approach. And humanity has finally come to this conclusion that you don't have to destroy and oppress others to enrich yourself, but you can do both. And you rightly say that technology allows today to
Yes.
democratize the economy.
Absolutely. Technology helps you to democratize and decentralize all the processes of various levels in the economic chain, as I say. I can also tell you that it's not just the businesses, it's also about the processes and the kind of raw materials that you use in every cycle of production. In construction industry, I am actually proposing and propagating the use of as much as natural elements and materials as we can. I come from 3 generations of real estate development family back in India and various other places, even in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. We are now focusing on 100% carbon neutral construction processes and construction processes, wherein we are bringing in more natural elements. We are making use of wood. We are making use of naturally available stones, to focus on construction activities. And I think there's a lot of research that is going on into this, but I'm sure very soon it's not just about the sectors or the businesses or the products, but it's also about the processes of saving time, saving resources, saving man hours. All of these things will have to come in play, and that's where we will achieve the true economy in a real sense, where whatever we save is also added as a profit, and all those profits can be plowed back into supporting community-led projects. Look, I don't want to make money only for myself. I want to make money. I want to pay my salary to myself because I'm working for supporting my own family. But then all the additional money that retains or that remains should be plowed back into economic activity, should be plowed back to the stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, not just your investors, but also your people who are part of your processes and your operations, and to the market, to the consumers at the end of the day. Because today, people are not willing to buy your product just because you are Armani or a Gucci or a Prada. They want to see a real story behind the product. They want to see the real impact that the product makes. My own children, who are just young teenagers, they don't care for branded items. Well, if the brands also follow the same ethics, then they are welcome and happy to use those brands. But most importantly, more than the name, they are interested in, is it tested on animals? Do they employ laborers, and do they not exploit the laborers? There are these questions that kids nowadays, the generation, ask. And I think we have done a phenomenal job in raising them in the right way. So it's about creating the right processes, following the right ethical practices, and supporting communities, which leads to economic development. Now, Muhammad Yunus model that you talked about, it has elevated a life of millions and millions of people in especially eastern part of India and Bangladesh, which is to the east of India. What it has done is it has basically empowered the most vulnerable and the most affected people who had given up on the world, people who had given up on governments, people who had given up on society at large. They have gone ahead and empowered those people. They have gone ahead through this model of microfinancing. They've gone ahead and given hope. Most importantly, I always say, more than money, it's the hope you can give to someone.
Hope. Yes.
You know,
Totally.
and it has created that, and it has created that hope that even we can do business, even we can create impact through smallest of the small things. I mean, these loans are not more than $300 sometimes maximum $1,000 loan, but to someone it can be a huge money. A bicycle may be nothing for a rich kid, but a bicycle for a man who can use that bicycle to load his merchandise and go and sell across various locations is a lifeline for him.
Absolutely.
You know, so there are these small things which can really make an impact in the world, and I believe that that's where the real effort should be, and real I mean, best of the best businesses are on autopilot mode for us. Our practice on fuels, renewable energies, all of that is in autopilot mode. I mean, I don't need to personally be there even to look after those businesses of mine, but I am always interested in these kind of projects which can actually, you know, help people. As I said at the onset, I do not like charity, and I don't believe in philanthropy. I believe on impact investing and social investing, and I believe in also I don't believe in communism, and I don't believe in fully capitalism. I believe in welfare economy which works for the well-being of everyone.
Totally. We are definitely on same wavelength in terms of envisioning the new economy. And I think that,
True.
you know, despite the distractions of many bad things that are happening in the world, I think that there is a new parable of humanity. There is an enlightenment. There is a expanded consciousness of many
Absolutely.
people. Obviously, these are generational processes. You know, we probably don't see it in our lifetimes, but our children and grandchildren certainly will enjoy a better planetary consciousness than we have been so far. Please.
Just an hour back, I was in a meeting with some friends, and we were discussing, and we thought we finally came to a conclusion that we inherited a more peaceful world from our parents. Imagine in the days of your grandfather or my great grandfather. I mean, they were during the times of the Great War in the Europe or across the world. The whole medieval centuries were all full of wars and conflict because there was no economic activity back then. There was no capitalism. You know, so capitalism to an extent has kind of reduced the conflicts. Because earlier it was like, if I want something, I have to go fight for it and take it. Now, well, you can pay for it. So I think slowly and steadily, we will move towards a world which is much safer, much more peaceful. Yes, we do see conflict here and there, but there are isolated conflicts. And by and large, if you look at the world, it is peaceful today compared to what it was before. Or if you look at the medieval centuries or the ancient world, I think it's all happening for the betterment of the mankind. So I'm very hopeful about the great future ahead.
Absolutely. And me too. And that's why we are here speaking today. Dear Zulfiquar, it's like, you know, we resonate with the same vision and mindset. You touched two very, very important points for me, and I'm sure for all our audiences. One is the engagement of the youth. And you remember that when we met, I was supporting, and I'm still supporting, the POP movement, which is, it was actually funded by a Peace Nobel laureate, Dr. Pachauri, an Indian citizen as well. And so with POP, and under now the leadership of Dr. Ash Pachauri, we are committed to engage 2 billion young people worldwide around, you know, protecting our planet. And that raise of consciousness is much more amplified within young generations. You provided the example of your children who are much more conscious than maybe even us regarding animal testing and use of organic or, you know, more responsible materials. So the engagement of the youth is fundamental. And we spoke about it in our previous conversations. I believe, and you also believe, that technology is now a conduit at our disposal to engage massively and rapidly the youth, but also, you know, other circles of power that we also want to influence. So how do you see this connection between technology and youth engagement around the climate agenda?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that it's all happening by nature. If you look at it, I mean, we as a human being always were connected to the greater portal, and sometimes we called it a miracle. Now we call it technology. So I believe that today's youth is very savvy on internet, on technology compared to you and me and our older generations. So today the young are aligning their thoughts, they're amplifying their vision. If we can do if we can make a difference using this podcast today in a certain ways. So what is the biggest enabler here? The technology is enabler, right? So when you said technology plays a role of a conduit, yes, it's a conduit, it's a channel, it's an enabler. So I think joining hands with technology, in fact, at University for Peace of the UN, when we initiated our idea, the idea was to create capacity building vis-a-vis the youth of the day to day. Like how many CEOs, how many chairmen, how many common people that you meet on the street who understands what's the full form of SDG, and even if they understand what SDG stands for, how many people actually know what are those goals?
Very few, very few, I
And
should say.
exactly. And then how those goals percolate into ESG. There are goals which are good for environment, keeping in mind the environment. There are goals which are keeping in mind the society at large. And then there are goals which are totally for governance. Now, when you talk about technology and its implementation and its penetration, somebody once in an event, in a conference, asked me, why you're supporting blockchain? It's an expensive technology. Why you are propagating cryptocurrency? Isn't that the crypto mining result in depleting resources and very expensive when it comes to both financing and as well as
Energy.
on natural energy? So I told them, listen, but it also helps bring transparency. It also decentralizes governments. It also brings about the democratization, and governance is one of the major challenges. Ask people in the developing world or underdeveloping world where politics and corruption is the biggest reason for all the pilferage. Not that they don't have resources. What's the difference between a developed country and a developing country? The difference is who utilizes the resources in a better way, be it a human resource, be it their monies, be it their any other natural resources. Today in Africa, there is no dearth of resources. There is no dearth of human talent or people. The only thing is they have not utilized their resources in the right way or in a proper way. So it's all about creating governance. It's all about creating an engaging society to achieve both environmental and governance goals. So it's very important for us to understand how SDG can percolate into ESG, and the ESG framework can help banks to kind of touch and quantify. Sometimes we all get accused that we are not investing enough or financing climate projects. The reason being is that because there is no, everybody talks. Talking is nice. We all talk about sustainability, but how many can bring those goals to a bottom, to the point where we actually can see a workable model? Can we see a design which is ready to be executed, or a business plan which is quantifiable, where you can say, okay, this is like $1 going in and $2 coming out. So unless and until we create practical business plans focused on quantifiable goals and outcomes and assessment of impact, it's very difficult even for financiers and investors to put their money in. And I think that's where very important it is to create capacity. And that's what at UN, United Nations University for Peace, my idea was to create, not a peace-led project, but sustainability-led projects where peace is the result. We all want peace, yes. But idea of peace is different for all of us. For us right now is totally different. For someone in Palestine is not to get killed today. For someone in Africa to walk for 20 kilometers and still find water. That's their idea of peace. So idea of peace is different for all of us. But we all need clean water. We all need fresh air. We all need education, employment, healthcare. And that's where I think the goals have to percolate into. And that's where the real investment has to go in order to bring the sync between the youth and the technology, and use the technology to enable the youth to achieve their goals, and empower the youth to use the technology where we can achieve our goals. It's all intertwined with each other, if I may put it across this way.
Absolutely. Exactly. No, it was very clear. Thank you for outlining it so clearly for us and our audiences, Zulfiquar. You also mentioned another point, which is different, but still in the same path of creating impact. So you and me, we both understand the importance of engaging massively the youth, but also to influence the elites, because obviously, there are a few people, a few circles of power who are capable to take decisions that then impact the majority of the global population, the world population, right? So we want to
Absolutely.
also influence the rich and the famous in some way, if I can simplify.
Yeah, in
that.
fact, at University for Peace, the reason why we joined hands with them and created Commission for Peace was coming to the point where we need to build capacity. In fact, if we want people to follow or achieve goals, we have to first train them how to go about that. So we were the ones, in fact, who started the curriculum for capacity building. We started foundation training program in SDGs. We started program on peace-led developments. We started projects on community building in order to achieve goals. And the training programs predominantly for chairmen, for decision makers, and for C-level, C-suite level employees, the CEOs, the chief executives, all the way down to a young student who's in a school. It is at different levels and different level of understanding that one needs to create about SDG and its percolation into ESG. I again and again repeat this because, SDG would be save Earth, which is a very vague statement. I mean, just go and tell a waiter or a simple guy on the street and tell him you need to save Earth. He'll be like, well, I'm just a small animal on this planet. What can I do to save Earth? So that is SDG to me. But then when you bring it out and simplify it and you tell them, listen, save Earth is one thing, but save human existence on Earth is another thing. Earth may not be in danger, but human existence is definitely in danger. So we have to go down as basic as that to explain people the understanding, the core message behind when we say save Earth. It's about creating the understanding as to what will not keep this Earth or this environment more feasible, or this climate which is available to us today, can we have it tomorrow? Shall we work on it? If not, so what are the things that we need to keep in mind to avoid all these mistakes that we have done in the past? I think that is coming, that understanding, that level of penetration. And I think technology is playing a wonderful role in terms of creating that awareness. And I think the change is coming. I'm very hopeful. I'm very positive about it. I think in next 10, 20 years, it will be a green, peaceful, and a very beautiful place to live in. This planet will be a great place to live. And the efforts that all the governments, be it rich or poor, be it global south or global north, the developing world, the developed world, as per their abilities, as per their scenarios, and as per their current situations, they're all trying their best. Some economies are way too big. They're like gigantic ships. It takes time to turn a ship. And some countries, some economies are faster to adopt, like UAE, which are smaller boats, which can steer their economy the way they want. And that's a flexibility UAE and Middle Eastern countries enjoy, backed by all the resources and monies, and backed by ideas and technology. They are able to make a quick change. Like in last 15 years that I've been in the UAE, I have seen a dramatic change in the way people think. And every CEOs, every royal family member, every businessman which you meet here or discuss with, they all simply align with the thought that technology and renewability is the future. And they don't have a qualms to accept that, yes, we'll phase out oil and gas. Yes, of course, we don't have an immediate solution. If there was an immediate solution, we would have phased out right away. But it takes time, and I think we are all in the right direction. So I think that training is happening. More training is required. More knowledge sharing is required. More experiential sharing is required, because we all can learn from each other's experience. So I think that's happening, and it's in a good direction.
Totally. No, we think alike, which is very, very interesting. It's very interesting. And also you pointed out, I mean, something very, very important for me, which is simplifying the SDGs. I was in the office of the United Nations Secretary General when the SDGs were conceived. So I played a role in that as well. And there was always against making them so numerous and so complicated. Nobody knows what SDG number 9 is. You see what I mean? Or number 13 is. It's even difficult to remember. And so actually with Hadley Broadcasting Company, with Benedict, you already met, we are launching a series of very short SDGs kind of communication videos based on life stories. So what SDG 9 means for me or for you or for our children. So it's very practical, and I think that will help, as you rightly said, simplifying the communication around SDGs and other related concepts. But Zulfiquar, before we are moving now towards the end of our very, very interesting conversation. But you also raised a very interesting concept of what we could call sustainable real estate, if I can call it like that, which is building or developing buildings that are more in harmony with nature. And so I want to tell you a short story based on my own experience, because I think it's valuable, and I would like to have your advice on it. So, as you know, my company is based in Miami, Florida, which is together with Dubai. These are the two cities that are growing in terms of developments very fast and a very high level. So all the luxury brands are building in both Dubai and Miami. So I collaborated first with Aston Martin, building a residence skyscraper, a beautiful one in Brickell, Miami, and then with Bentley, also a very important developer is building a Bentley Tower in Sunny Isles, which is a little bit north of Miami. And so I organized mastermind activations, around climate issues in both residences to attract, the rich and famous, because once again, in addition to engage the youth, we also want to target those who have money and power to propel the climate agenda faster. And so Bentley Motors, I don't know if you know that, probably yes, but Bentley Motors, I mean the brand that builds the cars, they've made a commitment, a very interesting commitment, to become a totally sustainable brand by 2025. Okay. However, when I spoke with the developer building the Bentley Tower, I said, excuse me, but how do you translate in developing a building this brand commitment to be sustainable? And he told me, look, we do what we can, but if I should use only recyclable or sustainable materials, the building would cost me at least twice than what it's costing me now, and that would not be economically viable, because it would be too expensive. And so there is always a fragile, a very thin line between respecting green certifications and try to be as sustainable as possible with the requirements of the economy and the market. So how do you navigate towards overcoming that paradox?
Right. No, it's a very interesting question you asked me, and it's just not about real estate sector, it's across sectors, be it a fertilizer sector, be it a manufacturing sector, overall engineering, across all processes. If you notice, to shift from a fossil fuel or from a carbon positive material to a renewable material or a renewable source of fuel, it is going to be expensive, because these are not mass produced as of yet. These products, like for example, the wooden composites or glass composites, which can easily replace the heavy concretes and heavy steel, which are highly carbon producing and highly polluting. The reason why they're expensive is not because they by nature are expensive, but sometimes wood is just plain available at nature, but it's simply about the processing of that wood. How many factories in USA you think of has wood processing? But if you talk about steel processing, well, every city has one. So it's economies of scale. I think that is coming soon, and that's where the real investment is required. When we say we need to invest in ESG-led projects, this is what it means. That we need to invest in sustainable materials, like be it building materials, be it the blades of the wind energy, be it the solar panel, be it the the fertilizers that we use today, there are so many of chemicals and so much of pesticides that are going into the soil, but they are cheaply available. That's why the farmers choose to put chemical fertilizer compared to an organic or a more conscious, I would say. Rather, there is nothing organic in my experience, but whatever, as close as nature that we can get,
Yes.
in terms of pesticides, in terms of chemicals, in terms of use of more naturally harmonious products, let's say that way. Your beauty products that can use more sustainable and more eco-friendly products, which are not tested on animals, which are good for your skin, which are amply available in by nature, and which can help rural economies come up. So all of these are possible, but it requires a lot of investment and a lot of patience. So I think it's not going to happen in one day. Like I said, it's going to take its own sweet time. But even if we have started making an effort towards it, I think it's a great start. And I am seeing that there is a swift move. I see
Yes.
financial institutions, the banks, and even the corporations are understanding the benefits. The governments are taking efforts. The governments are supporting businesses which create more sustainable and more renewable product line or projects. So I think it's coming. The change is coming, but it's not going to be 1 day or 2 day or
Yes.
5 years. It's at least another 3-4 decades of work that
Yeah.
is required.
But
So
yeah, but we can accelerate that. Going back to the youth engagement point, we can accelerate that process of sustainable manufacturing, if I can call it like that, across all
yes,
sectors: food,
absolutely.
fashion, real estate, cosmetics, hospitality. So we can accelerate that process by influencing and raising more and more the consciousness of consumers, so that consumers require more of those items, and then the manufacturers produce more of them, because obviously the items builders in any industry, they produce what people buy, right? So in
Absolutely.
that sense, the consumer is sovereign in the economy, because decides what products are sold or not sold. And so by impacting, influencing, orienting, guiding, educating the youth to buy more and more of those items. And this process is in the fashion industry is very clear, and also in the food industry in some way, because
Yes.
young people are asking, those questions that you mentioned. Your children, they are asking, this T-shirt, how it is, created and produced. And so there is a way to amplify and accelerating these dynamics, which
Absolutely.
probably is not very clear to many. And I'm so grateful to you, dear Zulfiquar, to enlighten our vision with this. And I feel that your mind is so clear, and it's very, very interesting to connect with that energy. But
Thank you.
so I don't want to abuse much of your time. And so there is always a question that I ask to all my guests, which is a little bit unusual, but I think helpful to our audience. So I say, imagine that you wouldn't have any limitation in terms of money, access to resources, human capital, regulations, laws, whatever. You have a magic wand, and you could instill a change in the global climate agenda to propel it as fast as possible. What would you do?
Anyone who knows climate change and its impact and sustainability can tell you that this is going to be the most difficult choice with the magic wand. But if I have to, for the sake of this conversation, I would say the first thing I want to do is completely reverse the way we think. The most important thing is how we think, because God created this earth and gave resources to us to satisfy our need and not our greed. So the one thing I want to change in the humans is our mindset, our thinking, our thought process. Even an carnivorous animal like a lion or a tiger will only hunt when he's hungry. He will not hunt when he's not hungry. But we humans, we just want to hoard things. We just want to accumulate things. We may need one car, but we have 4 cars today. We may need only few pair of clothes, but we have many, many clothes. We may need only one iron in the house, but we have 4 irons in the house. We may need only one phone or one gadget, but we have 5 gadgets today. So, like they say, human wants are unlimited and means to satisfy them are very limited. That sync between the two is in our thinking, is in our thought process. So, if I had a magic wand, I would want to remove that greed from our mind and keep us as basic to our needs.
Very inspiring, very inspiring,
Thank
and
you.
very true as well. And so, on this inspirational note, dear Zulfiquar, I would like to thank you on behalf of the Hadley broadcast
And
production.
don't say,
Yes,
please don't say you abused my time or you wasted my time. I mean, look at my face. I'm happy. I'm smiling from my heart because I got an opportunity to discuss this podcast with you, who's a champion of sustainability yourself. Your biodata, your resume is full of great achievements. What you've done with the UN, what you've done in general, Enzo. I was inspired by your thoughts and your talks, and the panel that we hosted last time in Dubai. It was really inspirational for me as well. We all have to keep an open mind so that we all learn from each other. And you've been a great teacher to me as well, and I really respect you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. And well, I mean, my words aren't going to be enough to thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and also to Benedict, who's been up for us to support us in this. So thanks so much. Thank you again, and I really appreciate. I hope this message goes to far and wide to each and every individual, and it becomes a guiding force, for all of us. Green is the good. I mean, sustainability is the new smart. Let's have hashtag sustainability for peace.
Yes.
These are my messages to the world at large.
Wonderful. And then we will continue our conversation to launch a green Shark Tank, as we discussed, because we need to help entrepreneurs to finance these projects, because there are so many new technologies and smart ideas to make this world a better place. But the access to financing is very challenging for most young entrepreneurs. So I
just have a correction. We'll not call ourselves green sharks, because shark is shark.
Green
we'll call ourselves green bees, because bees have a great role in our environment, and bees are the one who collect honey from flowers, and we all should be like that. We should all collect honey.
I love it. Let's do it.
So we'll be green bees. Absolutely, we'll be green bees.
Absolutely.
We'll have honey. Okay. We'll have honey with us. Yes.
And honey is gold. It makes total sense. It's the gold of nature, the real gold, actually.
Absolutely, Enzo.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Absolute pleasure.
Continue your good work and
thank you so much
that you are undertaking. And we'll speak soon.
Told through the stories of today's leaders in finance, tech, real estate, culture, and sustainability. We share the boundless and beautiful technology of nature, where health is the new luxury and opportunities for a better future are being crafted by the second. This is Planet Go, with your host, Enzo Di Taranto.